Now, it so happens that when we're applying for the undergraduate education, it's easier to talk about co-curriculars because you're in school and naturally you end up doing a lot of activities. But when you're out of school and you've graduated from college and it's been a few years and now you're applying for business school, there is a significant amount of co-curricular debt, if I can put it that way, that applicants usually face. How much do co-curriculars matter? How do you think about pursuing co-curriculars, and why do they matter even?
ECs, we'll call them ECs, extracurricular activities. ECs matter, and in that hierarchy that I had mentioned, LOR, SOP, EC, work experience, and grades and scores, they matter number 3. And definitely, why? Because they help in building a personality. The question that I was saying, the Stanford admissions dean was saying, how do I distinguish between candidates when they all have good grades and they are all good at their jobs? The answer is ECs. Usually, the grad school applicants do not have extracurriculars to write home about, and they rely on ECs they have done in college. Wrong. Wrong track. You must invest time in ECs because that develops your personality. And how much? I would argue if you can do as much as 15 hours a week, that would not be bad. So good grades, good at the job, but also an EC that helps you think in so many different ways is what I would recommend. And it can be anything. It could be sewing, it could be knitting, sword fighting, whatever you want it could be. The idea is that you do something more than just a job or more than just getting high grades.
Do ECs mean hobbies then?
Well, yes, the ECs are actually hobbies, but with this 15-hour a week, because hobbies in common parlance mean that you do it casually. No. So a serious hobby is equal to EC.
What do you mean by a serious hobby?
15 hours a week, and where you progress in that particular EC in some measurable manner.
Is there some threshold or some metric that makes a hobby a serious pursuit? And how can you talk about that in your MBA application?
So there is no threshold as such, but if you genuinely apply 15 hours a week towards that hobby, I would wager that you will be able to show to yourself that you have improved over the last 52 weeks in that particular hobby, and then another 52 weeks. So definitely after a few years, you would be able to say that you have accomplished something in that. If you cut corners and you don't do this weekend and the next weekend or this week and next, and then you say, look, I have not improved, and you, as it is said, hobby, no. And how can you show it in the application, or how do it comes through the essays? If you have done some hobby that is impactful, whether it is guitar or serving people or anything, then naturally you will write about it. Inner voice, authentic inner voice, you may recall. So when you have done work, why will you not write in the various prompts? And there the admissions officer is able to see the authenticity.
So is it the case that you should not reverse engineer your ECs? Because if I pick an EC which is largely an individual contributor, in the category of an individual contributor, say learning the guitar or playing it or sewing or knitting and so many of these other activities which are personally gratifying and personally fulfilling, but may not have as much of a stronger impact on society or community, versus if you pick an EC, say, being associated with Teach India, in which you're actually having a lot of impact on the kids that you're teaching spoken English to, don't you think that the latter is usually better and more impactful, or should we not reverse engineer ECs at all?
No, never reverse engineer. And if you talk about making an impact in society, the most solitary kind of based EC can also be converted in making an impact. Let's take an example, guitar or even chess. So you are lost in this EC for 4 years, 15 hours a week, but can't you teach guitar to folks around where you stay?
Yeah.
Can't you go into an NGO who is doing it, or can't you hold classes and even just do a startup? So I don't want to be, as if you're saving the world. So a startup where you are teaching guitar, or make an app that will teach, or so many. So every activity, even if it is based only on you, can be converted into something that is impactful. And impactful is a very good trait to have in life, not necessarily for the application. Ask me. I have made an impact on the world, and not that you have not, and everyone makes an impact. But when you make an impact, you feel so charged up that there's absolutely, the reward is given, whether you get an admit letter or not.